Hello, everyone. So recently we had some good news. Donald J. Trump has decided that he's going to freeze the tariffs on Canada for 30 days. He's also doing the same thing with Mexico. The reason why Trump is delaying the tariffs because Canada has agreed to address the issues that are paramount to Donald Trump. What are the issues? Donald Trump has said that fentanyl coming into the United States from Canada and the migrants coming from Canada into the United States are two of the key issues. Canada has to appoint a fentanyl czar. At the same time, Canada has to show that they're making significant changes to their border in order to have less migrants crossing from Canada into the United States. But while announcing the freeze, Donald Trump had a very interesting quote about Canada. He said, Canada has not been treating the United States very well, and Canada doesn't allow American banks to operate within Canada. I'm going to play the Donald Trump clip for you guys, and we'll discuss it after.
We're not treated well by Canada, and we have to be treated well. Banks are not, as an example, allowed. Did you know that? That American banks are not allowed to do business in Canada. Can you believe that? And that's one of many things that we talked about, and I think we'll win most of the subjects. But for some reason, a lot of things have been very unfair with.
So this is new. So far, Donald Trump had only talked about fentanyl, illegal migrants, and the trade deficit and revenue generation from the tariffs. How come the banking industry is involved? So I want to play another clip where Danielle Smith discusses these issues.
Back, and we need to make progress on the things that are irritating to the Americans, the digital media tax, the banking industry, telecom, supply management. Those keep coming up. But
they're referring to protections Canada has for certain industries to protect the Canadian industries, because if American companies were to come into Canada to provide us with telecommunication, to provide airline services, to provide banking services, Canadian competition would not be able to last. Canadian competition just cannot win against American corporations, which are just generally much bigger and have a huge consumer base and can withstand pressures of the market that Canadian companies just cannot. For example, on telecommunication, Canada only allows from 20% to 45% of foreign ownership. For broadcasting, foreign ownership is capped at 20%. For air transportation, foreign ownership is restricted to 25% for airlines. For banking, foreign ownership is limited to only 10% shares. I know most people would want American companies to come into Canada and actually provide us with better services. For example, the protection we have for telecommunication companies actually ends up biting us in the ass because we pay more for telecommunication than countries like India and Mexico, which is just a problem. I know most people would like if American Airlines could come into Canada and operate some of these domestic routes. There would be more options, and it would mean the competition would lead to lower prices. But it would also come at the expense of Canadian companies maybe being overrun and maybe run out of business because they just can't compete. On this issue, I really want to know what people think. Please drop your opinion in the comment section and tell me, do you think that we should allow more American companies to come into Canada and operate, such as American Airlines to come into Canada and operate on our domestic routes? I know a lot of people don't like the current options that we have for telecommunication companies in Canada and want to see more. Do you think we should allow American companies to come in here and operate? Or do you think it's problematic to become completely reliant on American industries to provide us with critical communication infrastructure? I believe that Canada should keep some of these protections in place, because if in future the tensions are to rise again like they did on February 1st, that American companies can just refuse a service. Therefore, I believe Canada is right to keep some of these protections in place so that we are not completely reliant on a foreign entity to provide us with critical resources. With all that being said, guys, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out, and I'll see you guys soon.